Teenagers. I'm Brian Costello.
I'm Jim DeSanto.
Can I be Catherine O'Hara for this episode?
You may.
Yes. And we have
Wonderful.
2 guests tonight. Ghosts of Scranton Past.
Marcia and Dan.
Marcia and Dan Barrio.
Hello.
Marcia Rita Barrio.
It's been a long time.
Yes, very long. So we thought we would follow up last week's Shit Creek episode with perhaps a performance as a mother by Catherine O'Hara that's maybe more questionable than her mother on Schitt's Creek.
It's very interesting. We can discuss that.
We delve into that.
Yeah.
But we were talking about and celebrating the 30th, which is crazy, but the 30th anniversary of Home Alone.
That's impossible.
But before
We're not
that,
old enough for that to be true.
what is everybody drinking this episode for this holiday celebration?
Old fashioned.
A little cab in the nice one glass. I'm feeling nice tonight.
I'm being so I haven't branched out really.
Are you going to be naughty tonight if I'm the nice one?
I didn't get that glass, but
I feel like you're still gonna do it whether
Wow.
you're drinking out of the glass or
Well,
not.
This is getting awkward already.
You can't even find your beeper.
I know, I
You're
couldn't.
not allowed to say the word. If you can't find
Literally.
your beeper, you're not allowed to say the word.
Can we like back up?
You can. The
Hey,
Zoom
Dan.
can cut
Hey,
out
Dan.
whatever you want.
We gotta go.
It'll be like kids. It'll be like, it's glitchy. It's glitchy.
I'm drinking tequila.
It's glitchy.
Tequila. Love it. All right, Dan's got tequila. Marcia.
Oh, Dan, is that like a
Ooh, very nice.
what kind of tequila, Dan?
Reposado. I actually did come prepared. We do watch your show from time to time.
Oh,
Is that a
Wow.
the reposado?
Dan's
Oh,
very
look at that
fancy.
thing.
Ooh, what is
Wow,
it?
that is
Oh, I've
high
seen
end.
this.
Yeah, where did we see that
I've
before?
seen this. What is this?
Very high end.
Yeah.
It was a gift.
It was a gift. Yeah.
So that's just like a standard bottle that some tequila company makes?
Yeah, they try to be a little fancy about it. So it's like a ceramic thing, but it's delicious tequila.
It's not an urn with ashes.
No.
It may be at some point in his life, but we'll decide that later.
Actually, that is where I want to be.
Probably in your
Yes.
life, not his, Marcia.
Yes.
Let's be honest. We're putting
Let's
Dan
hope
in that thing.
Yes. Let's hope we're not scattering your ashes in the parking lot of Schitt's Creek
Yeah.
with nobody there.
Nobody watching.
Nobody's
All
watching.
right, we're gonna need to vamp for the rundown, Brian, because I think Katie went to get Scout something, so
Oh,
the dog
okay.
is
Well,
not.
I
yeah, what are you drinking? I didn't even listen.
I didn't say
Oh, okay.
Miller Lite.
Booyah! Classy.
I've heard of it.
We're
Might have heard of it before.
we're also celebrating Brian and Miller Lite's 30-year anniversary.
I was not drinking at 10.
11 maybe, but 10 is really
11. Well, that's true. Actually, wait, I would have been 11. So maybe I was. So we have selected Home Alone. So many Christmas movies, but this is, again, came out 30 years ago. And I'm assuming most of us saw it in the theater. Is that a crazy assumption? I feel like this was such a huge movie.
I think I saw it twice.
It's pretty safe to say that almost everybody saw this.
It
Probably.
ran.
Right?
I remember this
Forever.
running almost till the summer.
Yes, that's what I remember, Jim, is like after Christmas we went to see it because it was just everybody would go.
And
That's what I remember.
it just stayed in the theaters
Yes.
forever.
Yeah.
That's when they used to do that. I
Yeah,
mean, movies like,
Right.
I mean, this was, I mean, there was VHS and stuff by then, but things would
Yeah.
stay in the movies forever if it was good.
If it was making money, I think it just
Yeah, they wouldn't pull it out.
yeah.
Yeah, it would just stay there forever. All right, it's time for the rundown. Here we go.
Jumping right in. Right in. And this is John Candy with the rundown. No, that was more Joe Pesci, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was either. But
Yeah.
Somewhere in the middle.
Just go with it, I
Fine.
guess.
Okay. Kevin has been left behind by his overburdened family. While they jet set to Paris and back, Kevin must employ all the skills he has gained in 8 years to stay fed and clean, and also to defend his home from the wet bandits who are terrorizing the empty houses in his neighborhood. Will Kevin be able to maintain the glorious trappings of his Chicagoan McMansion and realize his Christmas wish of seeing his family on Christmas? Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. All right. So this film, like we've already hit on, was huge. I mean, probably, I'd have to check the numbers, but it had to be within, in terms of having a child star, has to rank up as one of the all-time grossing films of all time. I mean, there's other films that have made lots of money, but to have somebody who's in almost every scene.
Right.
This was one of those like defining,
other than like a Harry Potter, right? The early Harry Potters, and that's like a different thing.
This made a shit ton of money.
Yeah. So the
and still does, by the way, because this is one of those movies that's like this time of year, every year.
It just in cumulative worldwide, it was 476 million.
Do we know what the budget is? It couldn't have been a huge budget.
So there's a story around the budget, which is that Warner was supposed to bring this movie to market, and they said they would only give John Hughes $10 million to make the movie, and he knew that wasn't going to be enough, but he still like said okay. And then apparently, like on the sly, he knew that wasn't going to be enough. He started like shopping it to Fox at the same time, and like secretly sent them a script. And then then he went to Warner and was like, "Hey, the budget's $14 million," and they were like, "No, stop production." And then Fox picked it up, and the budget went up to like 18 or something. Yeah, 18 million is what it ended up at.
The rest is history.
Yeah, well, it's funny because Chris Columbus, who goes on and directs the Harry Potter movies,
and the Christmas Chronicles 1 and 2.
Yes, very true. He actually got this movie, and he never thought he was going to get another movie again because he was supposed to direct National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, and thought Chevy Chase was such an asshole. He left like 2 minutes, like 2 weeks or 2 days before the film. He's like, I can't work with this guy. And John Hughes wrote that as well. But then when he wrote this, he goes, no, I want Chris Columbus to do this. And Chris Columbus, to his credit, when he directs movies with kids, he does a great job of it for kids of a certain age. So are these parents criminally negligent?
Before we get into that, before we evaluate these parents, let's just do we have like an overall, like, are we all lovers of this film? Are we across the spectrum? What's our hot take on the movie?
Oh, I always enjoy it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you, Brian, to your point about them making money, we actually had to rewatch it. And I had to rent it.
What? Yeah,
I couldn't find it for free. I don't own it.
Oh, you don't have Disney Plus, sir. That's what you need.
I wish you had told me. I actually do have Disney.
No.
Oh, Daniel. Oh, that's poor internet.
What a moron.
Oh, Lord.
Anyway, yes, I like it. To answer your question.
For $2.99, it was well worth it.
Yeah. This is one of those movies that I feel like in my mind over the past 30 years, apparently, was kind of just like a movie of my childhood. I think our kids had watched it with Jim at some point. I was not interested. I thought it's like a slapstick, silly kind of thing. Like, not so much my bag. I freaking loved this movie.
Yeah.
It's a really good movie. It's like deceptively good.
It's one of those my parents, like, it's the movies that parents and kids can appreciate. So that's to me why, like, the parents are laughing and the kids like want to be Kevin. So you're like, you want to watch the movie.
And there's like just enough language and things that that the kids feel like they're getting away with something watching this.
Yep.
Yeah.
But Lily, who's 9, was like, how does he know all of these things? Is this like from summer camp? Did he go to, that's what she said.
No.
Did he go to summer camp?
It's funny. This was just the 80s. Like,
this was completely believable that
he had already seen Predator and Toy Soldiers by this point, and Red Dawn. Red Dawn, he had watched like 8 times, so he knew the commies were coming. You would defend your house.
You could do anything as a child of the 80s. You were able to.
That's a fair point. It's amazing we survived.
I mean, Commando. How many times do you think that kid saw Commando? At least 8 times.
No.
Well, and he was He was the 7th kid. He could do. I mean, basically whatever the 18-year-old was doing, he was able to do as well.
Maybe not though, because he was a little freaked out by Angels with Dirty Souls. the mob.
Well, he's still 8.
That's true.
He's still 8, right?
Yeah.
It's still a machine gun. I mean, it's still a little scary.
I still remember my dad telling me to count the number of bullets in Commando as we watched. He's like, "Oh, this is fake. Don't worry about it. The bullets ran out about 45 rounds ago." I was like, "Oh, okay. This is."
But see, you believed everything he said. You're like,
Yeah, I was like, "All right."
But Terminators are real. Just
They are
remember
real.
that.
100%.
I found this movie to be, and I had watched it last year too, but I always forget how much I laugh at it.
Yeah.
Like, it is like cheesy, but still like genuinely funny and kind of just it's a little hokey, but it plays because of the Christmas angle, I think, because I don't think until this time I really caught on of how much of an almost fairy tale like thing it is with the wind blowing out the pow. Like when you see it in that way as an adult, you're even, I think, more willing. As a kid, you just love probably everything about it. But as an adult, that makes it more like you get into it. You're like, okay,
well,
I
think that helps. You know, we were trying to explain to our 6-year-old tonight, like, you're not supposed to watch this and think that like this is really happening, right? Like, it's a realistic film. It's not sci-fi. It's not fantasy, but it is definitely hyper real, right? There are elements where like you're just supposed to kind of go along for the ride.
It's a live action like Tom and Jerry or like Roadrunner block of life.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, don't worry too much about the robbers like getting impaled and lit on fire. Like nobody's gonna die. They're all gonna be fine, right? We're just supposed to laugh. You don't need to you don't need to feel bad for them. Just laugh.
There's no empathy needed. You just laugh.
Some movies are just like that. Yeah. I mean, the opening scene has Pesci sitting there as a cop for like 10 minutes while people are just passing him by. I've never thought of that.
It was a pretty great scene.
Exactly.
It's believable. Like that environment of that house is basically my childhood being around my mom's family.
Yes.
So like
it's 100% true.
Yeah, 100%.
I would go into so I was not a child of like a family like that. I had older brothers, but they were all out of the house. I would go to Jim's family functions and sit next to the grandmother that was not like blood relatives to the clan of 10. And we would just sit in the dining room like wide-eyed and be like, what is happening here? It was just like that house.
And then we would have Brian play Santa at those parties.
Sure.
We actually did have Brian dress up as Santa for my younger cousins. Yes.
I did. That is
he
true.
He earned his number 2 from McDonald's that day.
Yeah, that's true. It's a good point. I thought these films are complete opposites, but the opening of this film versus Jim, what you were talking about with the opening of Fences, like, and just the idea of like having somebody who uses like movies and cuts and all that, like there's so much going on and there's a ton of dialogue and there's so much like dropped on you, like exposition dropped on you, but you never feel like it because of the way they edit it and cut it and use the fact that it's a movie.
Well, it's not exposition really because they're not
giving up much, but you get a lot of character stuff. Like
this is because they're actually showing you rather than telling.
Yeah.
Yes, right. You feel the chaos.
Yeah.
All the relationships, they give you like little snippets.
And right here is where I will make my stand on the parents is that John Hurst, is that who?
Her. He's heard. Hurst is
is that the guy?
No. John Hurst is a actor as well. Yeah.
John Hurst.
He's a terrible dad, but the mom is pretty good. And I think the only
why is he a terrible dad? What does he do?
Because he doesn't give a shit about anything.
No, the uncle's the jerk.
The uncle is literally a jerk, like mean man.
Right. Dad
doesn't give a shit about anything.
Clearly he makes a ton of money, and that's been defined as his job.
I thought of him as more aloof than anything else.
I mean, by the time you have that many children.
He has 3, 4?
Yeah,
there's more, aren't there? How many come in the door at the end?
Can we ask Marcia, who has
5? So there's 5 of them.
I think there's 5.
Yeah, 5.
There's 5. Okay, so Marcia, you obviously grew up in a family of many children. Right. Was anybody even forgotten for a minute? Was there ever a situation where somebody drove away and then had to turn around and go back and get somebody?
100%, like 100%.
So do we have to give them some leeway? Maybe
Exactly.
should we give the McAllisters some leeway?
Yeah, my parents instituted like the number system, and we would count off. And then my dad could tell the voices if you said 4, which was me, and it wasn't me, he would get very frustrated. And we left Connor when we drove to my eldest brother's wedding. Connor was, I don't know, 10 at the time, and we left him home watching TV. And we were all at the wedding.
Wait, how many?
Everybody turned around.
Remind us how many children there are, Marcia.
So there were 9 of us then.
Right.
And so my oldest brother, and the difference between my oldest and my youngest is 17 years. So my older brother is getting married at 27. My younger brother is 10 years old.
I think he was watching like this.
So, like,
He was watching The Simpsons in the den. Fair enough. He had his own snacks, but we all got to the wedding and the cocktail party, and we were like, who has Connor? Do you have Connor? Do you have Connor?
Well,
Do I have Connor?
but to be fair, that's 10% of your family, or less than 10%.
Right.
This guy, these guys lose 20% of their kids.
Yeah, no. I mean, I don't think you can justify
I'm pretty sure
it,
Jim just said your parents are bad.
but it
No. What I'm saying is, like, that's understandable. What I'm saying is, like, when you only have 5, forgetting one is like not a bigger deal. I guess know what I'm saying.
It's always a big deal.
One of our listeners says she was left at a funeral home. There were
funny.
5 of them.
Oh, see?
She's
that's John Candy,
That
right?
happens in the story.
That also happens in the movie.
John Candy.
Do you think she's making it up?
I don't know. Hype? Are you just quoting John Candy?
Yeah, because John Candy goes on a story to make
Right.
Oh, yeah.
to make the mom
also
feel.
not talk for 6 or 7 weeks after this event happened to you?
Yeah.
Because that would be
Yeah,
the same.
she-
Well,
So, for those that don't know, John Candy is in this movie
Rest in peace.
as
and he
I
made
forget
like
his name.
$100 to be in it.
Yeah,
by the way.
400. It was like $425 he got to be in this movie.
That's crazy.
He filmed for one day, and he was the only actor allowed to go off script. And him and Catherine O'Hara, all their interactions were basically ad libbed.
Off script?
Yeah,
Awesome.
and so they had one day to shoot his lines, and he goes off on a story trying to make her feel better about him and his wife leaving one of their kids at a funeral home for a full day. And Laura's saying no, she's 100% telling the truth. She was left at the funeral home for her grandmother's funeral.
Well, that's
How long
scary.
before you started speaking again?
Because John Candy
Yeah.
clean.
Yeah.
Well, this made me also love the world of pre-9/11 airports,
Yeah.
where there was apparently no security.
You could go to the gate. Remember when you could go to the gate to meet someone?
I guess that's how you get around not having a kid, right?
But I mean, just letting them all in, like, sure. Go.
Just pick a seat. Yeah, grab whatever seat's open. Oh, you'll love it. The train. This is only a flight from Chicago to Paris.
Right,
Don't
right.
worry about it. Short flight. So I think the interesting thing about this movie, and I think we brought this up a long time ago on another episode. This is one of those movies you're willing to watch if it comes on TV because
Right.
you're waiting for the house situation to occur.
Yeah.
That's a 100%. But rewatching it this time, there's also a lot of like some pretty good setup stuff because there is a long time. I mean, you're almost an hour before you get to that part
Right.
of the film that you have to sell. And I think that's interesting to, how you write this balance of we need to have some characters that are interesting. Some of the humor is certainly more adult oriented than they do a nice job mixing it. But I was impressed this time at just how long it is before the stuff happens. Because as a kid, I think that's what you always remember about this movie. Because that's like one of those things, like a dream come true. Imagine I could do all these things in my house. And there's a legit movie kind of before that, though, which is, probably a testament to John Hughes because he was such a good writer.
Right. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Well, I think, I'm sorry, go ahead, Dan.
No, go for it. You're in.
I think that like the balance is sort of the beauty of this film, and you can see it in so many regards. I was thinking about how there's a touch of like romance and nostalgia in this movie, and it comes in a lot of ways. It comes in the way they use the music. Brian, as you said, like these like fairy tale little elements. And then nods to other movies. You know, Jim was saying there's a scene that's very much like right out of Indiana Jones with Joe Pesci grabbing
when
the
Joe
doorknob.
Pesci burns his hand. It's almost a like
shot
cut
for shot, right? Yeah.
Of when I forget the guy's name, the bad guy in Raiders of the Lost Ark burns the medallion on his hand, and then runs outside in the snow and he goes, "Ooh, ooh, ooh." He does like the exact same noises, and then he looks at his hand in like very similar way. Like, it's exact.
And for me, I was thinking about Christmas Story. There's a similar sort of like perspective shift where like suddenly, you know, Ralphie, Kevin, you take Kevin's perspective and you're looking up at the adults and seeing them the way that he sees them. And he has that interaction with the elf and with Santa. And again, you get this sort of like grisly Santa, just like you do in the Christmas Story. Except the scene changes. We're like, you know, he's in front of the busted up car.
I think that was Max from Armageddon.
Yes.
It was. Absolutely was.
Yep.
Rest in peace.
But it ends up like that you know,
Bye, Max.
it's nostalgic, but it turns, you know? So I feel like there's like all these just little like nods to other movies and just the way that it balances that, again, that childhood, you know, the childhood desires of like, what if I could fight off the bad guys all by myself, you know, along with like the, adult trauma of like, what if I left a child behind? There's just so much going on, you know?
Yeah.
So apparently John Hughes literally had that thought. Like they were like going on vacation and he was like, did I do everything? And he's like, oh my God, what if I forgot the kids?
Right.
And then he like quickly like wrote a few notes and started writing this movie.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, but to your point, Brian, just sorry, like the one thing I'd say, I also love the actors they picked for everything. Joe Pesci's like a personal hero at this point.
Not a first choice.
Oh, yeah, and that's interesting. Like my cousin Vinny, all the mobster movies he's done, like you think about it, like I feel like I like him even more in this movie now, just because of how I feel about him.
Yeah,
like,
I think no, it was De Niro and he turned it down.
It's funny. We've talked about a few movies that De Niro turned down, and it was definitely for the best.
Yeah, and then he started picking other bad movies.
Yeah, he chose Meet the Fockers over this. He decided Meet the Fockers would be a good comedic
I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm not a De Niro hater, but I am an anti De Niro in pretty much
You're a De Niro
everything
realist.
after Goodfellas.
Yeah.
You're an anti-Deer Night or
He's
whatever.
not in the fan club.
Like anti-Dentite.
That's fair.
Jim, I'm going to roll with you on that. I think it's okay to criticize him. He's made so many horrible choices. That sort of denigrated everything that he did well. Like
But it was. The choice of Pesci turns out to be great.
Yep.
Yeah.
The fact that they're able to get John Williams, which is probably why, I mean, John Williams has never done a bad score. And I mean, for a movie like this, I don't know if you necessarily even think of a score, which I think elevates.
I think you do.
I think you do.
There are moments in this movie where like the music swells you, right? Like,
John Williams, yeah.
It's incredible.
I'm saying like a kid, quote unquote, kids movie.
Oh, sure.
You wouldn't think like, oh, let's get John Williams for this, or you wouldn't even invest the money in them, right?
Yeah.
You'd be like, this is a kids' films or whatever.
But it makes it feel that much more important.
Oh, it means it makes it feel like something that is real, that is timeless.
Yeah.
He actually got an Oscar nomination.
It's amazing.
Movie,
it has themes as recognizable and gives you a certain feeling like Star Wars, and they're not. You couldn't like hum them like you can Star Wars or Jaws or something like that.
I don't know. I feel like that one, on my Pandora, that song will come on the Christmas station. I'm like, Home Alone.
Yeah. It is great.
Yep.
So so Pesci and Daniel Stern turned them. Well, apparently they had to extend the shoot because of a bunch of stuff that happened, and they weren't going to like extend their pay. And so Daniel Stern was like, peace. And they got Daniel Roebuck, who
God.
Oh no.
Yeah, I had to look him up because I didn't recognize his name, but when you see him, you know who he is.
He's in a bunch of stuff
he is apparently after like a day, Christopher Columbus was like, yeah, no, you're out, and brought Daniel Stern back. Because Daniel Stern and Joe Pesci really have a chemistry in this movie that is amazing.
Yep.
And I love the extreme, like twins, like just this big, goofy guy with a little. I appreciate that.
Marshall with the twins, right?
But it is. It's just that good dynamic of opposite.
Yeah.
A little foolish.
I don't know if we want. I mean, this movie's hilarious in certain respects. Dan said, he's still laughing at parts, and so maybe because we could go over everything that happens, but I think, what is your favorite like funny moment in this movie?
Oh,
and the reason I bring that up is because this Daniel Stern's scream when he puts the tarantula on his face.
We're just laughing at that half an hour ago.
Yeah.
Is so maybe the best scream in any movie of all time.
Because you can feel it in your soul.
Yes.
Because that would be me. It would be me, without a doubt.
You imagine what depths you would have to, of fear you would have to get to make that sound.
That's a guttural.
Yeah.
It is.
Guttural. It's like
it's beyond guttural. It's like if you were already at guttural and then it goes to like the tip of your head.
Yeah.
Like it's like it's insane.
But you know how some directors will do things like in the moment because they want the natural? That's what I always think. I'm like, I'm going to guess that they just put it there and
that was a live tarantula.
Exactly. It just was
But that's perfect. That's how you would feel.
Yeah.
That's how I would feel. Like it just.
I love, and he does something that I only realized this time that I would totally do. And I do this if there's like a little spider in the house, which is like, did I get it? Did I get it? Like, where is it? Because if I don't see it dead, I'm going to have a hard time going to sleep tonight.
Right, but how he takes Joe Pesci with the crowbar.
Oh my God, so good.
No, it's amazing.
I don't know if I can top that. I know. Feel like that is the funniest moment. Yeah.
I think you took the best one.
All right, sorry. There are others.
We could do favorite scene.
No, go Brian. Brian has something.
I love, and I love when he keeps using the gangster film.
Yeah.
Like the gag with the pizza delivery kid.
Yeah.
But like the thing that I think the writing is brilliant of it. So he's watching it at first, then he figures out in his mind, like, okay, wait, now I can use this with the pizza guy. But then he takes it to the next level with Daniel Stern. And then they get back in the van. They're like trying to talk about the game. Snakes? I don't know. Hold on. I might know that. Hold on.
They shot that for this movie. That's not a real movie. And in the original script, apparently the final scene was supposed to be Marv and Harry in like prison going to like the common area to have like food and watch whatever, and that movie was supposed to be playing, and then Harry was supposed to like hit Marv or something, whatever.
So I love the humor in this movie, but I also love that it balances with like these very heartfelt scenes that never feel like they're too over the top. And so I think for me watching tonight, the scene in the church with his neighbor is like my favorite moment. And it doesn't feel forced. It just feels, like Kevin's reaction of like, this is the guy that my brother has talked about, and now he's right in front of me. Like, that's all. Yep, that's 8. Yeah. That's legit. And then when the guy's like, "Can I sit down?" and he's like, "Mm-hmm." That feels also exactly what would happen. And I love how that plays out, and like the subtle ending to it of him just kind of watching it through the window at the end of the movie. Like, I love that thread. Yeah.
Especially because I think that part, like you said, Brian, in the beginning, they have so much buildup, but like watching it from Danny, who's 11, his point of view, like he ate up that story, like looking out the window and is like, there are ashes of the body. And Danny's like, oh, absolutely. Like he believed every word coming out. So I'm like, that part engages a kid that age too. Like it still gets you.
Marley.
Yeah, exactly. And so you're still like, oh yeah, Danny, like nodding. I'm like, yep, you got him. Like 30 years later, Danny's like, yes, that's totally believable.
It has that like that moment of like a Goonies when like they would play like the Chester Copperpot thing.
Yes,
like,
absolutely.
And like, he was here.
He was here.
Yeah.
But it is like Goonies in the sense, right? That it's a movie as a kid when you see it that you're so drawn to it because it's like the game you would make up or play.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that like sticks with you. And it's interesting because I feel like part of the issue with like Goonies or Home Alone is in a modern context, you can't do them right? With social media or phone, it's not believable at all. Like, people don't get it. If you're a younger kid now, you'd probably just be like, well, why didn't they call a cell phone, or why didn't they post on Facebook, or why they don't understand like how different, if you didn't grow up at this time period, this idea like, oh, everybody could go away and you might just call the house. So, I mean, it's still far-fetched even for that time period, but like all those things, this idea that you could be off the grid, that's something that was actually possible, that kids would actually go to a grocery store, and they might look at them weird, but like maybe if it was right down the street, they might run down the street and get some. Like, now you'd be arrested if you allowed your child to even walk down to the street corner by themselves, probably.
Well, they do at least have the cashier kind of like give them the side eye, like what's we at least have a concerned adult. There's a few concerned adults in this. Sorry,
Not
one of our
police.
Listeners just wants us to come full circle on Mr. Marley. That's also a little nod to the Christmas Carol, right? So we've got the Ghost of Christmas Past.
He had no chains, though. I wish he had chains.
He had he did have a shovel.
If he was like dragging them down when he was like salting the sidewalk?
If he had like a chain attached to the trash can.
There you go. Oh, that would have been just a little subtle. Yeah, no, you didn't need it.
Well, listen, I just shoveled over 10 inches of snow today. I wish I had a neighbor that was walking down the street.
There you go.
Salting everything for everybody. He got shamed for that. What a snobby neighborhood that was.
There's only one thing that's really unforgivable in this movie. Buzz's fucking hair.
Oh, so bad. But it's so true for that time period. Like, I absolutely had classmates who had hair like that.
I was a little upset to see that on the poster on his wall was Ice-T, I think.
Ice-T, it was.
It should have been like Color Me Bad with that hair.
Oh, man.
The Ice-T one was a little off-putting. It was weird.
Yeah, but you want to hate him so much. You want to hate his haircut. You want to hate his attitude. You want to hate him.
Like the late 80s when you could have like an air rifle and a tarantula and nudie mags and a chest.
Fireworks.
Yep. Fireworks, all of it. Do you know what's so interesting about films with children? I think ones that are really good, with child actors that are really good, and I think they can play and last longer and have a better resonance maybe in like society, because there's so few of them. Yeah. Like there's some of them, they tend to be awful. Like I do feel like it's a really big gamble. Like we talked about, that was like the first Harry Potter movie. Maybe that's why Chris Columbus, did those first two. And maybe, when they start the transition and get older, maybe he's not the best director, but there's something about the performances he's able to get out of the child actors. Because I mean, in the Harry Potter movies that he did for kid actors, amazing. Yeah. The Christmas Chronicles are both really good with younger people. And this, Macaulay Culkin, I don't know if there's any other movie off the top of my head I can think of where a kid can carry scenes and they can film it in the way they do. They film it, he can do medium shots. He can do E.T. It's probably Drew Barrymore and
Henry Thomas.
Those two. It's one of the only ones where you can do that. Usually they're so limited in the type of shots they can do and all that type of stuff that he does. He's not afraid to do close-ups on Macaulay Culkin, and he can carry scenes, which is crazy.
Well, that's the other thing. He can hold it. He can hold his own.
Yeah, but it's not just that he gets the performances out of the kid. It's that he tells the story of the movie through such their lens that is like, it makes it more believable, and the absurdity of it sort of plays because he makes you feel like a kid by the way he's filming everything.
Yeah.
Right. And that's how E.T. works. Like if you rewatch E.T., the whole movie is basically from a perspective of a kid who has no effing idea what's going on around him. And this movie, I mean, they do jump to places where Kevin isn't, and there are other people interacting, and it sort of changes. And those scenes in particular are usually, it's interesting because you could almost say that those are also Kevin's perspective, because in those scenes, it's basically showing how stupid adults are. Like every other scene where Kevin is not present and it's two adults talking, it's them being fucking idiots, whether it's his parents, his uncle, the police, the burglars,
Everybody.
like everybody is not as smart as him in this movie.
Even in the pharmacy, like everybody is just a little bit.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's only the neighbor. The neighbor's the only adult.
Yeah.
Right, but you never get a scene with the adult, with the neighbor that's without Kevin.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting. I love that. And I think that's what he does well. Yeah.
The thing I love about this movie is also, and I think it's, I don't know if it was the brilliance of, it was partly probably John Hughes writing it, but how Christopher Columbus did it. When you get to the house sequence, it could almost be like a silent film. If you go back and look at the way he did it, the score is so good in that part. I mean, there is some dialogue, but there's not much. It's very much like Chaplin stuff, which I've been watching recently on the Criterion channel, of the way he did stuff, and the Three Stooges and like Laura.
Yeah.
But it's not done anymore. But it's done to perfection in this, like the slapstick comedy and the way that Pesci and Stern are able to pull it off. It's still like, it shouldn't be funny because it's so over the top, but the way they're able to do, like, I'm sorry, the stairs, like the idea of falling down the stairs, and then he's pulling himself up, and then that is, you could laugh all the time, or just the idea, it doesn't make any sense. Like silent films didn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense that Kevin leaves the window open because he has no way of knowing that Daniel Stern's going to be barefoot, but it's still hysterical.
It's logic, but you want to believe it anyway. So like, they sell it so well. Yeah. Right.
Like it's weird to talk about a movie like Home Alone and you'd be like, wow, this is somebody again using cinema, like the heights of what like visual storytelling is, because it's like Home Alone, but he does it like so perfectly in this movie to set things up, and that you get a 20-minute segment in the house where I'm going to kill you, kid, and there's a few groans and stuff like that. You could drop all of that out and just have John Williams score, and it still would be unbelievable. You could watch that almost as a film in its sense. Yeah. It could just be like, these guys are trying to break into house and they tried to break into the wrong house, and here's 25 minutes and you'd still love it, I think.
But even when the moments where he does, when the family is there and he does the time lapse and just with the music to feel the chaos of the people, but then also when Kevin is by himself and he does it again to feel like Kevin is like super excited with this plan he's come out, and then you feel it again, the same chaos, but this time you're rooting for him. You're like, yes, like you're on his side this time. And that like that music hypes you up with the speed. Like you're on his team. Like you want to see them go down as much as he does.
Yeah.
I found myself drawn actually to something and going more over to Katie and Jim's side from when we did Fury Road, because tonally we talked about like the imbalance at points in that movie. Okay. And I think this movie proves that you can, it's kind of BS to say, well, it's tough to get a tonal balance in a movie, because this movie could theoretically be all over the place, but they are able to do it. So it's achievable. If you have like, if you come in with like a good script, you know, it is possible to pull off something that, because I would argue that as crazy as Mad Max Fury Road is, this movie is almost as implausible as that in its concept.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah, but they're able to balance adults laughing. Like my kids are watching it, or you know, they watch it every year. They watched it again. Claire started watching Home Alone 2 until I told her Donald Trump was in it, and then she turned it off. And then she's like, well, why is he in this? And then she like turned it off and walked away. But you know, everybody can watch this because there is this balance, and I don't know what it is that's achieved, but it's proof that when we watch movies and we're like saying, oh, something was totally off there. It's obviously
turns out making movies is fucking hard.
It is. But again, when you have examples like this where you can kind of satisfy everyone by checking all the boxes, it makes it really hard to get into a movie where you're just like, well, it's visually beautiful, or like, well, they did these cool action things that nobody had done before. Like, that's great, but you can't have a film that's only those things. Yeah. I mean, you can, but it's not going to be fulfilling.
But I think here's the difference. If you're going to laud it as like amazing film that's transcending time and all those types of things. If you say it, you just have to say like maybe from a visual perspective, but not the movie as a whole.
I guess, Brian, but I still feel like then why do it? Like why only do right?
Yeah.
Like that just feels.
Is that how you end up with Avatar?
No. Right,
yeah,
like,
that's exactly right.
Well, that is so. That
check
is
the other boxes.
But even Avatar isn't. Fury Road's much better than Avatar. So
I agree.
But the one I always think about is John Wick because people.
We can't stop talking about it. We can't stop talking about it.
I think you guys secretly love John Wick and you just don't want to admit it.
What if we watch it again and I'm like, oh, I was wrong the first time?
You do love John Wick?
Yeah.
We could rewatch it, Kitty.
Maybe I need to. Maybe I was just looking with harsh eyes. Maybe.
I did like the second one.
If you don't love it, don't worry about it.
I did like the second one better than the first. The idea of like that it did something special I didn't see it, but yeah.
It was lost anyway.
Before we tie the knot on Home Alone, I wanted to revisit our conversation about the parents and that leaving Kevin behind is actually forgivable. The scene that is unforgivable is when stinking Uncle Frank calls him a jerk.
Oh my God.
And his parents stand by and send him to the attic.
This is the 80s. This is again the timeline of like, this was all acceptable. You were all a bunch of jerks.
I am sorry. Like clearly none of them like Frank. So then to me, this feels very
Frank was supposed to be Kelsey Grammer, which also makes a lot of sense.
That makes sense.
Well,
totally.
I could see Kelsey Grammer.
But like,
you could have pulled that off.
You know, I'm not one of those adults that feels like other adults can't parent my children or other adults
parent them.
But
not
that guy, you will not.
a-hole.
You will not. There is one
really
jerk here,
is.
and it is you, sir. Yeah. So I hated
Also,
that guy.
another reason why I think Kevin's dad is a shitty dad.
Because they both stand by though, and then mom's like, I guess I got to take you to the attic, to the scary attic all by yourself, 8-year-old boy.
To be fair, some of the stuff Kevin was saying to his parents was pretty awful. The way he was talking.
Yeah, but I think we've all gotten to the point as parents where we know that if our kids are saying some shit like that to us, it's most likely our fucking fault.
That's a big admission. We have a young listener watching us right now.
Who?
Just a reminder.
How old is Andrew Pigeon?
No. No, our youngest commenter is with us tonight. So far has been saying that Brian sounds the smartest. So
he's wrong.
I just need to put that out there.
Good job, Brian. It's the first time for everything.
Very intelligent child.
Pinnacle of your career.
You're a student and trying to get an A this semester, Brian.
Yes.
No, nope.
I will say that there have been talks about, first of all, there's like 5 sequels to this movie, apparently.
They changed.
They're just going to keep making money.
Yeah, they changed. There's talks of rebooting this, and I really hope this is one of those, it sounds weird, but there's certain movies that just shouldn't be rebooted. Like we're all talking about our kids can watch this movie, and there's obviously some elements of it that we have to explain, like what is this? Why wouldn't they do that? Right. But it absolutely still, like the premise and all the fun, it still works.
Yeah.
There's no way to go and then transition this into a reboot, I don't think.
No, they should definitely leave it alone.
No, I heard that they're doing they wanted to do a Stoned Alone, which was a movie about like apparently, like, I don't know if it's going to be Macaulay Culkin, but someone like an older stoner alone in their house having like paranoid, and it was the synopsis was hilarious.
That is a very different film.
That's a very different film.
I would
That
say
sounds appropriate for the grown-up Macaulay Culkin.
We might want to stay away from that one.
By the way, if you don't enjoy Macaulay Culkin as he has gotten older, I highly recommend everyone go watch the movie Saved.
It is excellent.
Which is I don't know, is it 15 years old now?
Well, let's make a request to put that on the list.
It stars Mandy Moore and Patrick Fugit from
can't remember.
Almost Famous.
Yep.
Almost Famous.
And a few other people. It is
very good movie. It is a very good movie.
Incredible.
So that poses the question, is this the best movie that Macaulay Culkin ever made?
No, Saved is better.
You think so?
Yeah.
Really?
Now I need to watch Saved again.
But he just made him more money, so maybe.
I don't know. Well, here's the thing. It is on Disney Plus, so Tim from Pop Addle doesn't think there's anything to watch on Disney Plus and hates it. But and don't be like the Barrios and pay for it if you have Disney Plus.
You're already paying for it if you have Disney Plus.
Already paying for it, so you might want to do that. But watch it. Maybe you don't watch Home Alone 2. Because somebody's in it. Maybe you shut it off.
Say it out loud.
Maybe you just say, I'm not watching this, and why is he in this movie?
I think it's fine. I think it's fair, and it reminds us where he should be, which is in the entertainment industry. Not leading a country.
Soon enough.
All right, here we go. Time for Game of the Week. Ooh, good job, Jim. All right, this is our third annual Comm Majors Christmas movie. So we're going to play Own It, Skip It, One or Done, Katie's favorite game.
God damn it, Brian, this is a really bad one.
So this is our we've done 3 Christmas movies. Here they are. Remember the rules. You can own one. You have to skip one, which means you wouldn't be able to ever watch it. And you can watch one only one time. So here are your choices. Home Alone, Love Actually, and National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Who would like to go
first?
The
guests go first.
Katie likes to do this because she doesn't want to answer first, even though she's known for a week.
Sometimes the game only gives us enough leeway.
I just feel like we shouldn't go first.
Yeah, the guests
should go first.
Own one, skip one, watch it only once.
Yep. So you can own one, which means you'd be able to watch it as much as you want. Skip one, which means you'd never be able to watch it. The other, you could watch only one time.
My options are, again, Love Actually,
Home Alone, Christmas Vacation.
Christmas Vacation is the one I want to own for me.
All right.
Love Actually, I don't think I ever have to see it. Sorry. But so I'll give Home Alone the other option.
All right. One and done. All right, Marcia, how about you?
I mean, I'm going to own Home Alone because I think every kid should watch it. Mm-hmm. I'm going to skip Love Actually. Sorry, guys. And I'll watch once.
National Lampoon's.
Yeah.
What was our wedding song?
It's God Only Knows.
God Only Knows.
Yeah.
What movie is that from?
It's from Love Actually.
Yeah.
I feel like they're judging me. Yes, I like John Wick. I screwed up your wedding song.
I don't know why he needed to do that. That's like rubbing. Yeah, that's making
you jumped right in. You were like, "Hey, is this hot water?" Now I'm in.
Yeah, so I think
it's actually a Beach Boy song.
It is a Beach Boy song.
Yeah, I know.
So we got it from Love Actually.
You were expecting Dan and Marcia to remember your wedding song. So why don't you tell us what their wedding song was?
I don't remember, but I remember they had lamb.
Oh, best meal I've ever had in my life.
There was so much lamb.
I remember them dancing and going down.
It is the best meal I've ever had in my life.
I've never seen so many people eat lamb at the same time, not at a Greek wedding. I've never been to a Greek wedding, but I assume they eat a lot of lamb.
It was good.
My mother is blushing just hearing you say that.
Let me tell you something right now. If Aileen actually ever listened to this show or was up, we could ask her and she'd say, "What's Brian's favorite meal of all time?" Lamb from Dan.
There you go.
I remember them dancing to "Going Down" by Bruce Springsteen.
Going down. I do remember that too, but no.
What was your wedding song?
Fly Me to the Moon.
Oh, that's a good one.
All right, Jim, what are you doing here? What's your choice?
I am owning Love Actually.
Wow.
One and Done, Christmas Vacation, and Skip It, Home Alone.
Ooh, I'm gonna flip it. I'm owning Love Actually, One and Done, Home Alone, skipping Christmas Vacation.
Yeah, it's a hit or miss with. It's a toss up between the two, because I feel like there are other movies that sort of give me the same feels as Home Alone and Christmas Vacation.
All right. I own all 3 films, so I am disqualified from.
Brian, when do you open up a new room of your house that is like just the film room?
Yeah, just the DVDs.
Well, I own a lot digitally now. Jim has converted me to non-physical media.
Don't pretend like I've converted you.
Virtual room.
Look at that.
So I am about to, as Aileen and I always watch Love Actually every year, though. So.
I'm actually feeling remorse. I do remember being a little emotional during Love Actually.
I feel like you need to rewatch Love Actually.
Could watch it. Yeah,
what you're telling me is that you haven't really watched Love Actually.
No, I've seen it.
It's just because we live it. We don't need it.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. I
Constant
love that.
romance over there.
All right, here we go. 5-question time.
You want answers?
That's the right one.
Answers? I want the truth. What makes you mad, Mr. Lebowski?
What the?
So, Hype is sharing her wedding song, and I can't think of what that song sounds like.
Why?
What does it sound like?
I want to hear it.
Annie's song? How does it go? John Denver.
Annie's song?
How does it go?
Is that from
You fill up my senses like a night in the fall. Are you kidding me, Hype? This is your song?
It
Like the
wasn't Hard Knock
mountains in
Life from Annie.
Katie's
springtime.
coming at you hard, Laura Merritt.
Wow.
But
Okay.
you closed it. I was in the middle of. I was having
I
a
wanted
moment.
it to be done.
Every week, Katie.
I was thinking of Rob and that song at the same time. It
I
was a moment.
wanted that to be over.
Oh, God.
Okay, here we go. 5-question time. All right, question 1, thumbs up or thumbs down for Dan and Marcia. How do you feel? It probably never happens, but being home alone, are you thumbs up or thumbs down at being home alone? So Dan is thumbs up and Marcia is thumbs down.
Really?
Wow.
Around the hole.
Yeah, you
How do
want to
you-
go?
I'm a thumbs up on it.
Yeah, I can't imagine a parent not like relishing being in their home with no one else there.
It never happens for me.
With so many people, it's weird to be.
Yeah, well, yes, you're.
So many people.
I
it's
get it.
weird.
I
Yeah,
get it.
that's true. It's
I
probably
love
so
it.
bizarre.
She's not
Love it.
taking it through. I go to movies alone. Let alone
That's true.
being-
Yeah, that's true.
I do
what are you, a
too.
psychopath?
I go to movies alone all the
That's
time.
why
When you
Dan and Brian
could.
get along so
Wait.
well. It's the same
If you were on business travel, Dan, and you had to go out to eat, are you getting a table or do you sit at the bar?
I'd probably sit at a table.
You're a psychopath. You're an absolute
I
psychopath.
wouldn't even do that. I'd sit at the bar. I wouldn't
Yeah.
sit at a table.
No, I'm table all the way.
Who else would I want to spend time with?
I don't want anybody at the bar to talk to me. If you're at the bar, people are going to talk to you.
Okay,
I want
okay.
my own table. I want my book, and I don't want to talk to anybody except the
You're
waiter.
gonna sit at
That's
a
it.
table during. That was like when we went to Brittingham's one time.
reads
Remember that
a
old
book during
person?
dinner?
I love
Who was
reading
that?
a book during dinner. You know this
Katie,
about me.
Let me take out
Who
my
was
Toni
that
Morrison.
person?
Yes,
Yeah.
if I didn't have you three around, I would sit at that dining room table and read a book and eat my food, and it would be a luxurious hour and a half dinner experience.
What is
That's-
I've
creepier,
been
that
caught
or
by
going
coworkers with like earphones and listening to music at like a restaurant.
No, that's worse. That's
what the
worse.
hell are you-
That is worse. I agree.
I
That's
sit at the
worse.
bar and pretend to be interested in whatever sporting event they're showing.
Yes, that's what that's
That's
how
because
you
you're
play
worried
it.
about appearances. I don't give a crap anymore.
Nope.
Oh, well,
I'm there for
no,
my
no.
own experience.
It's not about appearances. It's just about
Now you're worried that people will judge you.
Yep.
You just called me a psychopath, man. I'm telling
You did call him a psychopath.
Because
Katie's
so
not worried
clearly
about it.
you're judging the other people who are living their best lives,
Yeah.
having their own solitary
Whoa,
dining
whoa.
experiences.
Yeah, man.
I didn't say that I would never judge anyone. What the fuck? Why would that be an option?
How many times when you were traveling on business did you get approached by a young lady while you were sitting alone at the bar?
What? Hold on here.
Wow.
What?
That's it. You sit alone at the bar, you are open for business. That is that
That
is
is the most ridiculous
that is
statement I've ever heard.
that is it. You sit at a table, this shit's closed.
Never.
Closed. Closed. I got my book. I don't want anything to do with
No, I
you.
love this. I want to hear this whole backstory of what Katie envisions Jim doing on his business trips.
I like that Katie's
I wouldn't
standing in
even
for
worry
faithful
about
husband. Thank you. Katie.
Literally.
That's great. I would never.
Literally.
Thing that's never been said.
Literally never once has anyone, any human, other than the person taking my order, spoken to me.
No way.
100% true.
Oh my god.
What kind of psychopath would talk to me? Like, imagine me sitting at a bar, eating whatever.
Dan. Obviously, it's Dan who
Who would approach me and be like, hey.
Oh my God.
How you doing?
Women of a certain kind.
Are you so you're basically saying Jim's being approached by prostitutes at bars? Is that what you're insinuating? Ladies of the night? Wow, this is very
Lars
creepy.
this is taking a strange turn.
Yeah, this is...
This is from the question, how do you feel about being home alone?
This is the opposite. How do you feel about being not home alone?
How do you feel about being really uncomfortable? How does everybody feel?
It's your everyday existence.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Question 2. Would you rather be hit in the face by a can of paint or step on a nail barefoot?
Neither.
Which I will say, I still that the nail thing of all the. I can't. I could look at all the other stuff in this movie. The nail thing, though, I can't.
I'm with you, Brad. I can't even when it's coming. I can't even accept.
There's something about an impaling that just feels like the worst possible thing.
The what do they call it, Brian? The Foley sound in that moment when the nail goes into his foot.
So good.
It's dead silent, and you just hear like this.
Oh,
it's like
it's so gross.
Paint can.
I don't know. I guess it depends how full those paint cans are, but like the paint cans.
It's true. An empty paint can is very light.
It hits you hard enough, you're getting knocked out.
Those paint
I still take it.
No, what I'm
over stepping on a nail.
What I'm worried about is that the paint can actually kills you.
Yeah, I'd still take it.
The nail is probably
maybe you get tetanus.
Exactly what we saw is what would happen.
I am not playing this for the end game. I am playing this for how is it going to feel in the moment.
Right, you're not going to remember the paint can.
I'm taking the nail in the foot.
Yeah, I think I am too, Dan.
Yeah.
I think I am too.
I'm doing it.
All right.
No way, paint can all the way.
How many concussions were involved in this film?
It depends. If they had put Macaulay up on that zip line, things could have gone a whole different way. That was the only. It was funny. I was thinking about what a great job they did editing the stunt scene.
The stunt double, yeah.
Because you really, with the two guys, you really don't know.
You can tell when they're on the line that they're sitting on something.
Oh, interesting. Oh, I didn't know the one. It was the adult that was playing Macaulay Culkin going down the zip line that I thought was like the worst cut. All they had to do was shoot it from the back. Like
that was Tom Cruise.
It did look Tom Cruise.
He does all the stunt work.
He was a very small man.
All right, here we go. Fill in the blank question. The number of times a woman of a certain age has approached you at a bar when sitting by yourself.
3.
Anybody have an answer to that? Does anybody have a number? Has that ever occurred to anybody other than in an episode of Red Shoe Diaries with David Duchovny?
I don't even know what that is.
It was a great early 90s reference by me there.
Yeah, I know.
In fact,
we'll take your word for it.
Okay.
Duchovny references are all Brian.
Okay, here we go. Our favorite question. What's everybody's favorite Christmas movie? Dan and Marcia, favorite Christmas movie?
I gotta go Muppets Christmas Carol because I love A Christmas Carol, but Muppets just put an extra piece of
huge
flair.
Muppet fan. I'm going Die Hard like always. Like I know there's always a debate about that, but I love watching Die Hard no matter when.
Hey, it's amazing. And finally, deep thoughts. I love Die Hard. I watch it all the time. Is Die Hard 2 a Christmas movie, Dan? That's a big debate on social media right now.
It's not really a debate. It's less of a Christmas movie, but it's still awesome, man. I love all those movies.
I love Die Hard.
All right, finally, deep thoughts question. Dan and Marcia, which of your two children would be best suited to survive in a Kevin-like Home Alone situation?
Are you going to answer first?
I don't know. I think it's going to be Catherine. I think she's the secret planner, organizer. She would be able to handle it. Personally,
it's funny. I thought you were going to go with Danny. I'm going to go with my daughter too. She's just very mature for her age.
She could
That's funny.
She'd probably just call the cops.
Yeah,
and it'd be over.
Which could have ended the movie immediately.
I did that. It was my one question was like, it never. So I and it's unanswered. It's like, is it that he thinks his parents will get in trouble?
Well, no, but I think
he got left.
No,
alone?
I think it's because he's not sure what's going on because
the
he was the
cop was
in the
his
beginning.
house. Okay, that's true. Very good. Very good. Well done.
See, and I think he wished for it because I think it is still like a Santa thing. Like, is this real? Right? Did I create this in my own?
Very good.
Fair.
Very good.
Excellent.
And does he think he's going to get in trouble because he made his parents disappear? If he
God.
He did it. So it's like,
It just keeps getting better.
Yes.
Storytelling.
When Brian sent this question, I picked in my head. I said Eva for the exact opposite reason.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say Danny.
That Dan and Marcia picked Catherine because I think the person that's best equipped to deal with this is the person that when the plan falls apart, you just fucking bulldoze everything.
That's it. Eva would just throw shit out the window.
I would be terrified.
Yep, she will light things on fire.
When I visit the Santo house, I need to wear pads because Eva's just gonna.
Brian needs to wear an athletic supporter
Yep,
because
she will
Eva will
climb that person like a spider monkey.
crack him right in the crotch.
Oh my God. You were asking about concussions on this film. I think I got one the other day because she jumped into my jaw. I still hurt. Days later, my God, that kid makes you see stars.
She's not careful.
She
with
is
her
not
body.
gentle.
That sounds like her Danny. He literally does that all the time.
But Danny has like a secret fear of robbers, so I really think if they would not be like in panic mode,
It's only a matter of time before he fears quicksand, and then he'll be a true '80s kid.
That's amazing.
Robbers and quicksand.
Not by yourself.
Dan and Marcia, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Barrios.
Of course, we'll have to have you back again, especially in June when we're celebrating the 20th anniversary of the class of 2001.
Booyah. Yeah, man. Let's do it.
Did any good movies come out in 2001
No.
No. So wait till you see the list I have for everybody to pick
Lord.
from for that one. It is
Only
not
imagine.
pretty. It is not pretty. It's a really bad movie year, actually.
Nothing to look forward to.
I thought maybe we should just pick movies we watched in college. It might actually be better choice.
You're not wrong. I think I saw Gladiator by myself in Scranton downtown.
Dude, you were watching movies by yourself in college? That's a little weird. I was with you with like the whole movie by yourself thing now. Like in college, it's a little
everyone's like,
creepy.
dude, it's Thursday. Let's go out. Nah, dude, I'm going down.
Dude,
watch
I'm gonna go
Gladiator.
sit at a bar by myself, see if I can find a woman of a certain age.
I'm pretty sure it was winter session.
You ever watch Gladiator movies?
My God.
That's a whole other discussion. Join us next week as we do our 2020 review. I almost thought about not doing it because I'm not sure I wanted to give 2020 a year in review. But
it's a year to remember.
We had a lot of fun on the show,
Yeah.
so I think we can't
This has been a high
discount
point.
that.
You gotta recap that. Yeah.
Can't discount that.
I already saw two movies from 2001 that I like.
No, there actually are some good
Hardball?
movies.
Okay.
And Donnie Darko.
Oh, Donnie Darko's 2000. That's true. Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll figure that out.
You got time. You got time.
Yeah, we got a lot of Junes if we make it to June.
Exactly. Let's see.
If we make it to June, we'll see. Maybe we could actually have a reunion in person if people are vaccinated.
You got to stop talking about it because it's never going to happen.
It's not going to happen, but it's good to think positively. Right?
Think positive.
It would be nice.
Think positive.
All right, friends.
All right.
It's bedtime.
Thank you as always.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.